स्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बात्तरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः गुकारो अन्धकारो वै ऋकारस्तन्निवर्तकः अन्धकारनिरोधित्वात् गुरुरित्यभिधीयते। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओम भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः सुष्ठुवांसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यतायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओम प्रज्ञानां शुप्रदाने स्थिरचरनिकरव्याप्तिभिर्व्याप्य लोकान् भुक्त्वा भोगान् स्तविष्ठान् पुनरभिदिशनोद्भासितान् कामजन्यान् पीत्वा सर्वान् विशेषान् सुविधिमधुरभुङ् मायया भोजयन्नः माया संज्ञास्तुर्यम् परममृतभजं ब्रह्म यत्तन्नतोऽस्मि। यो विश्वात्मा विदिज विषयान् प्राश्य भोगान् स्तविष्टान् पश्चाच्चान्यान् स्वविधि विभवान् ज्योतिषा स्वेन सूक्ष्मान् सर्वानेतान् पुनरभिशनैः स्वात्मनि स्थापयित्वा हित्वा सर्वान् विशेषान् विगत गुणगणः पात्वसौ न स्तुरीयः। We are seeing Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad along with its Māṇḍūkya kārikā, and we are in the third chapter of Māṇḍūkya kārikā, what we call Advaita Prakaranam, Advaita Akya Tridiyam Prakaranam. And in this Prakaranam, we are seeing the 15th verse, which is also very relevant. Removal of the whole confusions regarding the topics which are presented in the Upanishads. One topic is relevant and it is consistent, and all other topics and stories are only having the intention to reach the goal. So we will read the verse and we will see the meaning of the verse and we will see the commentary of Adi Shankara. Okay. Mrilloga vispulingadyaihi srishtirya choditanyatha upayasso avataraya nasti veta khatanchana. Again once more. Mrilloga vispulingadyaihi srishtirya choditanyatha upayasso avataraya Upayasavataraya nasti veta katanchana. In the Upanishads, we will come across a lot of preliminary steps and also leading means in the form of stories towards the goal. As a human being, mind is very familiar to listen a story and to get the moral or the total result to be achieved through that story. It's very easy for the mind when they listen a story. In the Upanishads, we come across different types of stories which are talking about the creation. Some were the steps of creation. Some were the mixture of the creation. In some were highlighting any of the elements of creation. In some other places in the Upanishads, the glory of any element is being highlighted through a story, through a narrative. We used to see different types of stories talking about the creation. And we are familiar with the different stories. We can say prakriya, a method to achieve the subject matter, a preparatory step to lead the mind towards the goal. They are called prakriya. Panchakosha Viveka Prakriya. 5 sheets are analyzed, and who is inside these 5 sheets? This is called Panchakosha Viveka Prakriya. Sheet of food, Annamayam. Sheet of vital force, Pranamayam. Sheet means a cover. Every sheet will become more subtle than the previous one. The gross body being Annamayam, made of food, it is something visible. But the vital force, which is subtle, which is subtler than the gross body. And again, another sheet inside that, enveloped by the prana. Manomayam, mind, being the main part. Then, again, the mind is being enveloped and another thing inside. Vijnanamayam, made of intellect and etc. And at last, Anantamayam, a sheet which is made of bliss and etc. So here, this method is being executed in order to understand the goal, the Brahman. In order to understand what is Brahman. From the known to the unknown, going to more subtler, going to the more subtlest, at last the self-evident and self-effulgent Atman, the Brahman is achieved through this method. So different types of methods are presented in the Upanishads. Where pot and clay is presented as kārikā prakriya. In a pot, clay is everywhere. Kārye kāryanam vyavahitam. Everywhere you will get the cause in a product. So, in order to reach the cause, you need some indications regarding the cause. You should have that culture to know the cause. You need some points to identify the cause. This is called Anumana Linkam, inference. Inference based on Shruti. Keeping in view with the points of scriptures. You don't imagine or assume yourself. The information which you got from the outside, you imagine according to the knowledge of somebody given to you regarding Atman. That will not work. In order to know Atman, you should imagine collecting the points and notes given by the scriptures. Shruti matas tarkanu santhiyada. Always go along with the points which are presented in the scriptures and find out the reality. Don't go behind the reality with the points which are given from the church or mosque or temples. You study under a traditional teacher and come to know the points about the reality what are given in the scriptures. For example, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. These are all indicators of the reality, intrinsic nature of reality, which never changes at any point of time, is called truth, Satyam. When the entire universe, the creation, is changing every second, something is always stable, unchanging. That is why we can see all the changes. An unchanging entity can only mark the changes. That is why the truth is an intrinsic nature of this Brahman. It is not an identification like a blue color or any other indication. The truth, intrinsic nature of Brahman. At the same time, jnanam, consciousness. A conscious entity can only mark all the changes. Without a conscious entity, an inert thing cannot mark all the changes. So if I can mark the changes, what are occurring in my body, in the universe, and up to this, what has happened in my body and the universe, if I can coordinate, I'm a conscious, unchanging entity. That is why holding towards the points given by the scriptures, and you find out your intrinsic nature. So prakriya is important. The methods which are presented by the Upanishads helps you to understand what is the reality. So here it is told, Mrit Loka Vispulingadyehi. The examples which are presented in the Upanishads, Mrit, the clay and pot, etc., cause and effect. Vispulinga, the sparks and the fire, the sparklings which are coming out of a intensive fire. The Srishti, the creation is like that. The jivas, the life forms are like that. The fire being the creator and the sparklings being the life forms. This is also an example given in Upanishads. Loham, gold and ornaments. Ornaments we can change, but the unchanging gold being the nature of all ornaments. The name and form can be changed, but the unchanging gold is the real property, the locus of every ornaments. So in some Upanishads, pot and clay are given as example to reach the goal of what is Brahman. Vacha rambanam vikaro namadeyam mrittika itteva satyam. Clay alone, the truth, and all names and forms are just clinching or hanging towards the words. They are only modification of the truth without changing its nature. Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad talking about clay. Vispulingaha in Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad. Yada agnehe vispulingaha, a verse is there. From the fire, lot of sparklings comes out. So too the creation and the creator are one and the same. Another thing, loham, ornaments. In Brihadaranyaka Upanishad and other Upanishads also talking about ornaments. The locus of the all ornaments are one and only gold. But the ornaments are different and it has different forms. And all the ornaments resolve into gold. And all the ornaments are seems to be ornaments, but actually they are gold. Like that, examples are many in every Upanishads. Like this, lot of stories and a lot of examples are there in every Upanishads. Don't go beyond the story and behind the examples. There are limitations in the examples and in the stories. For example, there is a story in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad highlighting the glory of prana, the vital force. The intention is not to talk about the glory of the vital force, because in other Upanishads, some other senses or other elements are being glorified other than prana. The story is not in the same manner in every Upanishads. Somewhere Vayu is praised, the vital force. Somewhere water is praised. Somewhere the fire is praised. And also regarding the elements, in the Taittiriya Upanishad, 5 elements came out of this Atma, from this conscious Brahman. Or all the elements are nothing but Brahman. It is told in the Taittiriya Upanishad. 5 elements are being talked. But in Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad, only 3 elements are talked. Even the order is not the same. When the Taittiriya Upanishad says, first the space is born, there in the Māṇḍūkya Upanishad, some fire or water is born. And after that, Prithvi is born. Even the order is not so correct in every Upanishads. All these points, like the stories are different in every Upanishads. Orders are different in every Upanishad. Somewhere water is glorified, somewhere fire is glorified, somewhere earth is glorified, somewhere space is glorified, highlighted. The stories are different, the orders are different. So one should not focus on the stories or the sequence or the order which are presented by the Upanishads. Upanishads are not having the intention to digest the stories, or Upanishad don't have the intention to focus on the stories. Upanishad is focusing towards the identity between the individual soul and the Brahman. This being the intention, the stories doesn't have any concern. Stories are meant to make us understand the unity between the individual soul and the Brahman. No other intention for any stories or any facts talking about creation or the birth of 5 elements, etc., etc. Because people used to argue the earth has came first from the Brahman. Some other people says that no, not the earth. The fire came first. No, water came first. No. There are always disagreements within each other. And also, they focus on the mud and clay example or any other examples, All these purposeless arguments are to be warded off. May you understand the intention of the Shruti. This is what the verse is talking about. Mrilloga Vispulingadyehi. Through the examples of gold, clay, and spark and fire, through all these examples, Adyehi, through all these examples, Srishtihi ya, that Srishti which are being chodida, enjoined in the Upanishadic text, they don't have any purpose to make you understand that fire is glorified or fire is having the potential than any other elements, or water is having the potential than any other elements. There is no proeminence to be highlighted of any elements. Srishti is not intended to give more importance for the sequence, order, stories, or glorification of any elements. Upanishad is not interested to talk about creation. Upanishad is not interested to talk about the sequence of creation. Upanishad want you to understand the goal of a human being. Upanishad is interested to make you understand you are Parabrahman. Upanishad doesn't have any other intention or any other purpose through these stories, through these examples. So may one understand what are the examples given in the Upanishads and what are the examples enjoined to make understand the creation. They are all only to present the upaya, the means, avataraya, for the sake of presenting the means. They are having only one purpose: make you understand the unity between the Brahman and the Atman, the individual soul. No other intention, nasti veda katanchana. They don't have any other purpose, or they are not having any other intention other than making you understand the identity between the individual soul and the Brahman. Upayaha saha avataraya. A means, that's all. Mind can easily grasp stories, sequence, order. When you say something glory towards a person, you will never forget that person. If it is an ordinary person, you forget the person. If you get some glory of that person, you will never forget the person. So that is what been told here. Any story presented in the Upanishad regarding the glory of an element or some other thing, only purpose is make you understand the unity between the individual soul and the Supreme Soul. It's only a means. Don't focus on the stories. Don't focus on the people who are in the stories or the elements in the stories. Because stories talks about devils and divines. Deva asurayoho yuddha. In between the demons and the divines, there is a war. All these are having one intention. Whenever senses are misused, they are demons. When the senses are used properly, they are divine, deva. Always there will be a fight when we see certain things outside. Sometimes our our senses will become dim and the senses will become divine also. When you enter into a Vedantic teaching of a traditional teacher, they are divine now. So here, there are stories about divines and demons in the Upanishads. You should not take them real. The war is not real. There is no divine or demon. All these stories are just to make you to understand the unity between Brahman and Atma. Jiva Ishvara Ekatva Jnanam Eva Lakshyam. This is the only goal of each and every stories and sequence of creation. Don't focus on the sequence of creation. Don't focus on the proeminence of any elements. Don't focus on the glory of any elements. Whatever you come across the Upanishadic sentences talking about the glory of senses or elements, don't give more significance for that. Your prime goal is to understand who are you, the Atman, which is the Brahman. So the point is, don't focus on the stories which are presented, the sequence or order presented in the Upanishad regarding the creation. All the stories matter and all other things which are presented regarding creation is only to make us understand as a means, make you to understand the unity between the Brahman and the Atman. Nasti Vedat Katanjana. There is no separate understanding of these sentences. There is no significance for all these stories, etc., etc. Only to present the subject matter. So I have repeated so many times, keep it on the mind. Any Upanishadic sentence have the intention to make you understand the oneness between the Jiva and Ishvara. No other intention for any story or talking about creation, sequence, etc., etc. Here, now, Bhashya. Nanu Yad Utpattehe Prat Ajam. Okay, what is birthless before the creation? Sarvam, all is one, Ekameva Advitiya. Without a second, it is one and the same. Tada abhi utpattehe urdhvam. Even though it is one and the same, jatavitam sarvam. What is born here? Sarvam, jivascha, all the life forms, binnaha idi. They are all different by body and they are different by behavior, etc., etc. But one should not think like that. Ma evam, don't think like that. Anyartatvad utpatti shrutina. Utpatti shruti, the sentences talking about the creation in the Upanishads or in Karma Kanda. Anyartham, having another intention or meaning. Purvamabi parihradaha evam ayam doshaha. Already this been refuted or solved in the previous chapters and in the previous verses. One should not clinch on the stories regarding the creation, talking about creation. One should not hold on the significance of the stories, but give up the factors of stories and may you focus on the intention of the stories. Swapnavad Atmamaya Visarjidaha Sankhada. In the previous verses, we already discussed the creation is nothing but just like a dream. Swapnamaye yatha drishtam gandharva nakaram yatha tada vishwavidam drishtam vedanteshu vichakshanai. A verse which we already came across. In the dream, we see a mansion, highly worthy, Gandharva Nagaram. But we don't know, we are seeing an unreal mansion in the dream which is not at all there. In the same manner, the wise people used to see the entire creation which is not at all there, even though I see. This is what is told here. There is no truth in the creation. For the people who are discriminate, Vedanteshu Vichakshanai, know the proper idea of Vedanta, who is living in Vedanta, who is contemplating, who is assimilated the Vedanta. We already came across this verse. This has been told here. Swapnamaya Visarjidaha. Due to the Swapnam in the dream, there is a mansion in the dream. The same manner, there is a creation in the waking state. Gadakasha Utpatti Vedadivad. Gatha Akasha. A space inside the pot is not a created space. It's already existing space. But when the pot is created, it seems to be separated from the entire space, and it got a small space called the pot space. One should see the reality regarding the life forms. From the creator, when the life forms are created, there is no separation between the life forms and the creator. Not only human beings, all other animals, all other birds, everything. There is no inferior life form so that you can kill them. They are only helpless, innocent animals. The real wise person is a person who always helps the helpless. They don't take advantage of the helpless people. The real person always give the helping hand for them. Whether it is a small animal like an ant, etc., etc., whether it's a big animal, etc., etc., you are ready to help any animal or bird or creature if you have enough courage, if you have enough experience. You are pre-equipped to help anybody. Don't go accidentally or because of your thoughts. You are pre-equipped with all kinds of support to give helps for somebody. With your strength, with your mind, with your money status, you are pre-equipped. Without a preparation, if you go to help somebody, you will drown in the process. Because the world is so much violent. It is dramatic. People seems to be naive and innocent, but really they are not. They are criminals. Don't go to help anybody in the world. Don't go to convince the world. Don't take a mission that I want to convince the world. You just live a life, be the role model for others. Because the creation will continue like this only. You cannot completely evacuate the poverty from the universe as long as there are people who are wasting food in this universe. They are going to take a birth without having the food. How are you going to evacuate the entire poverty from the world? It's a wrong idea. I will do the service till my last breath for the people who are suffering from food. No chance. You are just wasting your life. Do something good for the real people who are discriminated, who are traditional teachers, who are connected with the scriptures. That is worthy. Don't help the criminals. No? You help innocent creatures. You help helpless creatures. If you help somebody who is criminal, it will burn yourself. So let it be there. So we are not interested to correct the creation. We are interested to correct ourselves. This should be our standpoint after studying Vedanta. You don't correct your family members. You don't correct your friend circle. You don't correct your subordinates, colleagues. You just live a life. And people will come to you to seeking they want peace. How you are living, I want to live like you. How you can help me. Then you give certain tips and help them to listen the teachings of Upanishads. No other way. Don't correct others and don't go. You know, helping is useless when you apply it to a devil or an evil personality. So always think about that. Okay. Sankataha, all the created things which are put together. Ghatakasha Utpatti Vedadivad. One need to understand them as the pot space. Jivanam Utpatti Vedadidi. In the same manner, one need to think about the origination of all life forms in the world. They are nothing but the same space only. It seems to be a small space when they have a small body. Itaha eva utpatti vedadi shrudibhyaha akrishya. Here also, utpatti vedadi shrudibhyaha akrishya. Punaha utpatti shrutinam idam tatparyam shrutinam aitamparya pratipipadisha upanyasa. Here also, Utpatti Shruti, the sentences talking about the creation and also talking about the glory of elements or order, sequence, anything in the creation. Idam paraya, aitam paryam, pratipipadisha upanyasa. The Shruti sentences talking about the creation have no other intention other than what? Mrit Loha Vispulingadi Drishtantehi Upanyasehi. Upanyasa, presence of examples like pot, gold and fire and sparks. Through these examples, that creation which is enjoined or revealed in the Shruti, chodita, prakashita, anyata cha, saha sarvaha, all that srishti prakaraha, prakara, manner, order, sequence, all these things are nothing other intention, no other intention. What is the only intention of all these things? Jiva Paramatma Ekatva Buddhi Avataraya Upayaha Asmakam. Upayam means, in order to understand what is the oneness between the Jiva and the Paramatma, the individual self is not separate from the cosmic self. Brahman itself is in the form of individual. In order to make us understand all these sentences are to be understood. They are only means to understood the oneness between the Jiva and the Brahman. And he quote an example in his commentary, a story which is giving proeminence to the vital force, giving more importance or significance for the prana, a story which is present in the Upanishad. Yatha, in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, 1:4, I think, first chapter, fourth section and the sixth verse or something. The story is there. What is the story? I will give you in a gist. Highlighting the eminence of vital force, prana, by giving certain war between the senses, between the demons, between the devas, the divines. At last, the vital force, due to its capacity, it became one of the highlighted character among them. These are all not to highlight vital force. It's only talking about the oneness between the jiva, the individual soul, and the supreme soul. Don't focus on the story. I will read the sentence of the story. Yatha prana samvade vagadi asura papma vedadi akhyaiha kalpida prana vaishishtya avabodha avadana. In order to show the prana vaishishtya, vishishtada, the significance of prana. Tadabi asiddham idi ched. That is also not proper. Na. Shaga Vedeshu anyatha cha pranadi samvada shravana. When the opponent raised the question, how we have to understand when an Upanishad talk about the story? Upanishadic sentences are talking about the story. What is the story? The significance of prana among the senses is been highlighted. Do you think it is a story to be given up? Shankara makes it clearly. Any story which is presented in the Upanishad regarding the creation is not to highlight any creation or any other senses. It is only to highlight the unity between the individual soul and the Supreme Soul. The oneness between the Supreme Soul and the individual soul. No other intention. If the story is true, which is presented in the Upanishad, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, then the story is presented in a different way in some other Upanishad. If the story is true, the same manner the other Upanishad also should present. But it is not at all there. See? Shaga Bhedeshu. In other Shaga, in other Upanishad, Anyatha Anyatha. In different way, Cha Pranadi Samvada Shravana. The story is presented in a different way. If there is an intention to make understand the story and the significance of prana, why should they highlight some other sense in some other Upanishad or in some other manner this story is presented? So the intention is clear. The story is not interested to highlight the significance of prana or the order or the sequence. Then Shankara makes it clear more. Yadi hi, if it is Sambadaha Paramarthaha. The Sambada is Paramartha. The story and the discussion and the significance of prana is Paramartha, is true. Eva both, if it is like that, Ekarupaha eva Sambadaha Sarvashaga. Sarvasakasu. In the same manner, every Upanishad should talk about the story of vital force. Every story which are presented in each and every Upanishad, every Shaka, every branch of Upanishad. It should be same, but it is not true. Every branch talks in a different way about this story. For example, for your understanding, I am giving. In this Upanishad, vital force is highlighted. In some other Upanishad, fire is highlighted. In some other Upanishad, water is highlighted. In some other Upanishad, earth is highlighted. So the intention is not so clear. The story is not to be taken in a true way. But the intention of the story is that make you understand the oneness between the Atman and the individual soul and the Supreme Soul, Brahman. So it is told here, I will read once more this sentence. Yadi hi samvadaha paramartada eva abhut. If at all the story is the main concern of the Upanishads, that vital force is taken to be the highest element or etc., etc. Then Eka Shaka, then Abhut, Eva Abhut, Eka Rupaha, Eva Sambadaha. Every story in every branches should be the same. Sarva Shaka Su Ashroshyat. In every Shaka, we should listen the same story in the same manner. Viruddhena aneka prakarena na ashroshyat. We cannot listen in a different way in different branches. Everywhere it should be the same because we are interested to highlight the proeminence of the vital force. But we are listening in a different way in different branches or Upanishad. Shroyadetu. We are listening in different way. That means story is not our intention or creation is not our intention. All the intention is just focusing towards the oneness between the Brahman and the Jiva. The individual soul and the supreme soul are one and the same. This is our intention, not the story. Tasmad na tadhartyam samvada shrudina. Therefore, that is not the intention of any samvada shruti, discussion of the Upanishadic sentences about creation. Tada utpatti vakyani pratyetavyani. In the same manner, one should understand all the Upanishadic sentences talking about the creation also should be understood in the same manner, should be taken in the same manner. Kalpa sarga vedad samvada shrudinam utpatti shrudinam cha pradisargam anyadhatvam iti ched na. Then the Purva Pakshi raise a question. Okay, sir, we will understand the stories are different because Kalpam, after 1,000 years or 10,000 years, the time will change or the situation will change. So according to that, story will also have some change. So that we have to accept the stories are true. According to the time and situation, there can be some changes, nothing wrong on that. So we need to accept every stories presented in the Upanishad. Then Shankara says, nah, no. Don't focus on the stories. Nishprayojanatva. There is no purpose on accepting the stories are true. What prayojana, what purpose you will get after accepting the Shrutis? Yatha ukta buddhi avataraya prayojana vidireyena. Apart from the highlighting of the oneness of Brahman and Jivan, what purpose we can gain from all these stories? So there is no purpose of accepting all the stories. We are not here to listen stories. We are here to fetch our goal. We are here to find out what is our Purushartha, the meaningful way of living and reaching the goal. We are not here to listen stories and laugh and make some fun. Nahi Anya prayojanavattvam samvada utpatti shrudinam shakyam kalpayadu. Don't impose any other purpose on the statements talking about creation in the Upanishads. There is no other purpose you cannot impose on the sentences talking about creation. Don't give any other purpose for the Upanishadic sentences talking about creation. So, again he says, Tadatva pratipattaye dhyanartham iti ched. We will stop here. We will continue from here in the next class. Om Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayandam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Gobrahmanibhyah Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshadu Parjanyah Prithivi Sasya Shadini Deshoyam Shobharahitaha Brahmana Santu Nirbhayaha Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamutachyate Purnasya Purnamataya പൂർണ്ണമേവാവശിഷ്യത്തെ. ഓം ശാന്തി ശാന്തി ശാന്തി. ഹരി ഓം. ശ്രീ ഗുരുഭ്യോ നമഃ. ഹരി ഓം.